Chapter 14. Getting Good Dharma. I'm glad I picked up the phone when Sergio called, Dharma says, bringing us into the house where the rest of our crew has already started eating sandwiches. It's so nice to see you and your boys, Melissa, but I don't think I've ever met them in person until now. Mom sags a little. I know, she says. It's hard to see time pass when you're just trying to make each day happen. Dharma's face is stern, but not angry. Weeds need to be uprooted if the seeds are to grow. Dharma's intimidating, like Yoda is intimidating. She's small and wrinkled, but with a face that says, I'm packing a lightsaber in my construction boot. She pats my mom on the shoulder and sits down at the head of the table. There's a picture of something that looks exactly like lemonade. Charlie grabs a sandwich and sits next to Dharma. He immediately starts asking her questions. Dharma seems to lean in a little to try to understand exactly what he says. I take a seat next to them and chime in. He wants to know how many horses you have. Like I said, people who just meet my brother don't always understand him. Yes, I know, she replies. I asked him if he'd ever ridden one. Dharma continues to talk to Charlie, and my mom and I turn to each other. Well, he's connected with Tia Dharma pretty well, Mom says. My brother pretty much ignores me throughout lunch. The more comfortable he gets with Dharma, the more he talks to her. He even helps her clear the table when we finish lunch. My brother has a lot of abilities. Wanting to clean up is not one of them. Whenever we have dinner together at home, Charlie always pretends he's too tired to help clean. Sometimes he'll put his head down on the table and pretend to be asleep until I've cleared our plates. What the heck has Tia Dharma done to him? Just a few days ago, I thought my family consisted of Charlie and my mom. And my dad, I guess. Now we've got all these cousins and great aunts and uncles all over Puerto Rico. It's strange. We haven't all sat down for a meal like this in a while, my mom says. I nod. It's not always going to be you and Charlie eating alone, sweetie. As soon as I get that promotion... I know, Mom, I tell her, because I don't want her to beat herself up about it. You know, Dad... What about him? She says, before I can finish my thought. I just think it might be different now, you know? He might be really excited to see us, and we've got this whole family down here. My mom's silence makes me uncomfortable. She might not think my father has changed, but I do. The memories I have of him aren't all bad. Yes, I remember the way my mom's eyes were puffy for a long time after he left. But I also remember when my dad took me to the zoo. I think I was 3, and he had me on his shoulders. It was bright and hot, so he gave me his baseball hat. The hat was way too big and it made me sweaty, but I didn't take it off. My mom was there. She had a round belly. I don't remember what he said to me, but I remember him holding my legs. I remember feeling safe. Hun? My mom snaps me out of the memory. You okay? I nod. Come on, let's go help out in the kitchen. Everyone is already there, helping to dry and put dishes away, wash pots and pans. There are a few people who aren't part of our group wearing aprons. Maybe they work here? A large guy walks in from the back door and into the kitchen. The smell of stable and hay follows him in. He takes off his hat and puts it to his chest. He speaks in mumbled Spanish, and I can't understand him at all, but his tone sounds worried. Dharma nods and excuses herself from the kitchen. She starts out the door with the big guy, and Charlie follows. We'll talk more later, okay? Right now I have to tend to a sick cow, she says, stroking Charlie's hair. Tia, Sergio says before Dharma gets outside, la medicina. You can give her the medicine I got from the vet. He says it might help. Tia Dharma watches Sergio carefully. Take the boys on a tour of the house, she says, like she's not interested in hearing Sergio's suggestion. I want to go with you, Charlie says. I want to see the sick cow. Dharma looks at my mom. I have a better idea, Tio Dharma says. Go explore the house, and when I return, I'll introduce you to Paco. Who's that? Charlie asks. You can tell that he has serious doubts that Paco is more interesting than a sick cow. Paco is our prize toro. He's the biggest bull in all of Orocovis. A bull? Yes, she says, a very big one. Only the bravest dare come close, and I know for a fact you are one of the bravest. Charlie likes this. He puffs up his chest. Dharma leaves with the big guy, and the rest of us finish cleaning the kitchen. Charlie is suddenly not interested in cleaning anymore. What happened? Lost the will to clean? I tell him, teasing him with a rag. Meh, he says, sitting on a bar stool in the middle of the kitchen. Cheer up, Charlie, Sergio says. Let me show you the courtyard garden. We follow him out. Sergio walks with me and explains that Aunt Dharma loves gardening. She's focusing more on teaching agriculture than raising livestock these days, he says. There are so many unique fruits and vegetables in Puerto Rico. See this here? Sergio points to an orange and yellow flower with spikes. This is called rambutan. He holds it carefully. It is a fruit similar in taste to lychee. An alien! Charlie shouts. It does look like an alien, Charlie, Sergio says, laughing. The name means hairy fruit, but inside it is delicious and very high in nutrients. Sergio carefully pulls out a rambutan off its stem and gently cuts into it with his pocket knife. He splits the hairy exterior and pops out a slimy white ball. Here, take a bite. Just be careful with the seed in the middle. Charlie and I both stare as Sergio offers it to us. Aw, come on, guys. My mom takes the fruit and expertly chews and spits out the seed. It's delicious. Charlie looks at Mom as if he's afraid she's about to turn into an extraterrestrial. I'm probably making the same face. It originally comes from Malaysia, but grows very well in Puerto Rico. She likes our weather, Sergio winks as he pulls off another rambutan. He offers it to me. I take it and feel its leathery spikes. Sergio holds out his pocket knife. Maybe I'll try it later, I tell him, returning the fruit. Hold on to it, he says. I put the fruit in my cargo shorts. Charlie completely refuses to take one. No way, man, he says. No way. I look up from the middle of the courtyard. There isn't a ceiling, just 4 columns surrounding the wooden square where several strange plants and vegetables are growing. I recognize small tomatoes and a lot of green leaves everywhere. Oh my goodness, is that spinach? My mom asks, bending over to get a closer look. When I was little, my parents used to leave me with Tia Dharma for the summer, Sergio says. They traveled a lot. We made this garden when I turned 9. Instead of giving me a toy truck or clothes, Dharma brought out some dirt and wood and said my birthday present was going to be a garden. I wasn't happy about that. But look at it now, Mom says, smelling more leaves. She gave you a gift that can last forever if you care for it. That's what she told me. I still wanted a monster truck, though. My mom shakes her head. What? I was 9. Who wants a garden when they're 9? I would, my mom says. I always wanted a garden. I thought I was going to live in a place where I could grow year-round. My mom's expression goes from dreamy to droopy again. Mom? I ask. Yeah, sweetie? Maybe Dad came back to Puerto Rico because he wanted to build a farm of his own. Didn't Tio Arminio say he loved coming to Orocovis? Farms aren't built, Marcus, my mom says, moving through the columns. They grow after being cared for. There's a wooden sign staked in the corner. It looks like it's written by someone just learning to spell. Sergio's Garden. She left it misspelled that way so I would never forget how to spell garden again, Sergio says. Come, there are more gardens all over the house. We snake around corridor after corridor. Angela and Hilda stop at every little garden. There are beds of squash, root vegetables Sergio calls yucca, and a tree with big green fruit that looks like spiky footballs. These are called guanabana, Sergio explains. They are bright red furry things called achiote. The theme is weird-looking fruit no one has ever heard of, I guess. Nobody in my school would go near these. Except maybe Danny. He probably would. That reminds me. I take out his camera. Snap, snap, snap. I don't know if it's possible for a camera to capture every color on these fruits. There are signs everywhere with squiggly names scrawled on them. They look like they were all written by young kids. Sergio says Dharma never had children, but she had lots of nephews and nieces and students from her school. She made them all plant gardens. I look up at another ceilingless roof. The sky has turned grayer than when we arrived. From above, Dharma's house must look like it has 100 holes punched into it. We go through a set of doors and enter a living room. This is the proper house, Maria says, walking with Charlie. He has seemed to warm up to this new place. It's like he knows it. Is this what my dad felt like when he was my age walking through this house? Inside Dharma's living room, there are pictures hanging everywhere, maybe thousands. This is the family, Sergio says. I scan around, but I don't see my dad in any of the pictures. Sergio notices. Your dad, he starts. When we were kids, we had this dream to buy a farm together. Finca Primo Vega, the Vega cousins' farm. When we got older, the plan was to save enough money to buy the land and build the farm. Tia Dharma said your father was too untethered and impatient. When he came back one day after years of being gone, she told him what she thought of his choices. Your dad got upset and left the farm life behind forever. I couldn't convince him to make amends. He said he had other plans. Tia was right, I guess. Your father never settles. I turned back to the photos. What's wrong with not settling? Isn't that what they teach people, to never settle? I step outside to get some fresh air and Mom follows me. The green mountains here feel like they're breathing, like the mist all around us is the air they exhale to the clouds above. It feels like we're at the highest point in the world. I aim the camera. Suddenly, a shot cracks the air and echoes across the mountains. The rest of the crew rushes outside to where Mom and I are standing. Was that a gun? Charlie runs to me and digs his head into my side. I put my arm around him. Along the side of the house, Dharma walks slowly towards us. She hands a large pistol to the big guy from earlier and tells him something out of earshot. She reaches my mom and me first. It's gonna rain, she says matter-of-factly, like a gunshot didn't just blast through the entire mountain range. Charlie, hearing Dharma, lifts his head. Dharma! He exclaims excitedly. He starts detailing what happened as best he can. He points to the hills and tells Dharma that a big boom came from over there. Yes, she said. I said goodbye to a sick cow. If that's how she says goodbye, no wonder my dad wanted his own farm. Sergio shakes his head, and I hear him mutter something about the cow just needing medicine. Dharma pats Charlie on the back. She looks at me, then at Sergio. Sometimes the necessary thing isn't always the easiest, she says, heading inside. The roads will be too dangerous for you, she continues. No driving back to Viejo San Juan tonight. I look at my mom. I'm not arguing with her, she says. Dharma stops at the door and waits for everyone to file inside. When I reach the door, she stops me. She's way shorter than I am, but I suddenly feel very small next to this lady who just shot a cow and doesn't seem affected by it. I've seen your father, she says, watching me carefully, but tonight we will not discuss it. Understand? I nod. What else am I going to do? Dharma says Charlie and I will bunk with Sergio. My mom will have her own room. Angela, Hilda, and Maria will share a room. My mom asks Sergio about cell service. Marcus, give me my phone, honey, she says. I want to call Tio Arminio. My mom follows Sergio outside with the phone. I go out too. Out there, the evening air fills with strange sounds coming from the darkness. The coquille, Sergio says. That little frog has made its way into our art, poetry, and music for centuries. That's a frog? I ask, listening. Yes, it's saying, coquille, coquille. Sergio imitates a strange frog sound. That's where it gets its name. Isn't that beautiful, Mom asks. It's like they're singing to us. It's a little creepy listening to the singing frogs as it gets darker, but I don't say anything. Sergio takes us to a little area near the barn where my mom has to stand on a haystack to get reception. When the hay is used to feed the cows and horses, there is no cell service, Sergio jokes. My mom finds a signal and calls Tio Arminio. She tells him we're staying the night and that we'll call him first thing in the morning. I guess she doesn't want him to worry. Mom hangs up and hands me the phone and hops down from the haystack. She smiles awkwardly. Adventure? A sleepover at our cow-murdering great-aunt's farm in the middle of nowhere, with little singing frogs coquilling everywhere. What's not adventurous about that? We go back inside, where Dharma is already plating our dinner. It's a dish called esopeo. It's like a tomato rice soup with chicken and lots of vegetables. Actually, that's exactly what it is. Charlie doesn't seem to mind being here, Dharma continues chatting with him while she sips from a gigantic coffee mug. Finally, she tells us all that it's time for bed. She doesn't give us an option. The rain will come, she says. It will be dangerous along the hills, so no going outside. Nobody argues. Later that night, I sneak out and head to the haystack. I climb up, careful not to fall over. I point the phone to the sky and check for a signal. I see lightning illuminate the dark mountains like a flashbulb across my camera. Seconds later, thunder echoes across the range. I check my email. Still no response. I type a quick note. Hey, we're in Orocorvus at Tia Dharma's farm. She killed a cow. She said it was sick. Have you ever done that? Okay, gotta go. There's lightning and I don't want to get fried by a bolt. I'm on that haystack. Have you ever used it to make a call when you were here? Oh wait, you don't have a phone. I hope you get this. Bye, Marcus. I go back inside and get into bed. Soon the rain starts pounding the ceiling. I think of my dad. Did he challenge Dharma? Did he disagree with her? What did he do to get kicked out of this farm in the clouds?